And there is Ricardo Lockett. It was a very frightening moment in Dallas, but here he is 2 weeks later, getting the crowd all revved up.
Adams, ooh, he got popped in the face. Oh, my mouth guard comes out, and they're asking for help right away.
End zone caught, and now the ball comes out incomplete. The tight end, Donald Parham, and he's hurt.
Dances, dumps it off. He's got Myers, and Myers is nailed right in midfield. The flag comes in.
From getting knocked unconscious to the tragedy of Darryl Stingley, these are the wide receivers who almost died on the field. Let's start with Seahawks player Ricardo Lockett, who suffered a serious injury that almost cost him his life. In a video, he explained how close he came to dying on the field in Dallas. Lockett described lying on the ground, unable to feel his legs or arms, and not knowing if he would make it. His doctor told him that if he had stood up or if someone had moved him in the wrong way, he could have died. Lockett credited the team's medical staff and trainers for saving his life by following proper procedures. He thanked them and expressed gratitude for being alive. Lockett also shared the emotional experience of thinking about his family and wondering if he would ever play with his kids again. Moving on, we have Devonte Adams, who was hospitalized in Green Bay following a severe helmet-to-helmet collision against the Bears. The incident occurred when Bears safety Adrian Amos wrapped up Adams, leaving him vulnerable to a forceful hit from linebacker Danny Trevathan. Upon being hit, Adams went limp and fell to the ground, prompting immediate concern from his teammates. The game was halted for nearly 15 minutes as trainers attended to Adams. While the severity of the injury wasn't initially clear, there was a collective sigh of relief from the Lambeau Field crowd when Adams gave a thumbs up as he was taken off the field. On November 7, 2010, Indianapolis Colts receiver Austin Collie suffered a severe injury. After a brutal and illegal hit by Eagles safety Quinton McKell, Collie fell flat to the turf and laid motionless. Collie remained down for at least 5 minutes, and a stretcher was brought onto the field to transport him back to the locker room. Medical staff removed Collie's face mask, secured him to a backboard, and immobilized his body before loading him onto a cart. Reports from Philadelphia assured everyone that Collie regained full movement and was alert in the locker room. Remember when Treylon Burks got hurt and had to be taken off the field? Treylon was jumping to catch a pass when he landed hard out of bounds, hitting his head on the ground and losing consciousness. When Treylon got hurt, the medical team took quick action. They strapped him to a backboard and removed his face mask. Both teams' players watched and followed safety protocol. This was the second time in a year that he got knocked unconscious during a game, the other time being against the Philadelphia Eagles. Talk about tough luck. Does anybody remember when the Chargers went for it on 4th down and quarterback Justin Herbert threw the ball to tight end Donald Parham Jr.? Unfortunately, Parham couldn't hold on to the ball, and as he hit the ground, the back of his head slammed hard on the turf, causing him to lose consciousness right away. Medical staff had to remove Parham's face mask, place him on a backboard, and then transport him off the field on a stretcher. It was a difficult and scary moment to witness, but Parham went on to make a full recovery. Jacoby Myers faced a scary moment when he took a hit to the head from Denver's Kareem Jackson. He was down on the field for several minutes, and both teams showed concern. Myers walked off the field with assistance and was evaluated for a concussion. Despite the potential injury, Myers' teammates admired his toughness and determination. Moving forward, we have the time Meers and Goodwin was sent to the hospital by Rams safety Blake Countness. The hard hit prompted a cart to be brought out for Goodwin, who gave a thumbs up to the crowd at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum as he was taken off the field. After the incident, Goodwin provided a positive update on Twitter, stating that he had no soreness, headache, memory loss, or any other issues. He thanked everyone for their prayers and well wishes. On January 10, 2016, Steelers wide receiver Antonio Brown suffered a concussion due to a late hit from Vontaze Burfict in the Steelers' 18-16 wildcard victory over the Bengals. The controversial hit on Brown occurred as the Steelers were attempting to move into field goal position with 22 seconds left in the game, trailing by 1 point. Roethlisberger threw an incomplete pass to Brown, and Burfict's late hit resulted in a 15-yard personal foul penalty. Getting to the top, we have the time Vikings wide receiver KJ Osborne suffered a terrifying head injury. The hit that led to Osborne's injury occurred during a catch with contact to his head from both the front and the back by Falcons cornerbacks Jeff Okudah and D. Alfred. Osborne laid still on the ground for some time before being taken off on a cart. He was ruled out for the rest of the game due to the concussion, and Alfred received a penalty for unnecessary roughness. Juju Smith-Schuster was once assisted to the locker room after a harsh helmet-to-helmet hit against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Smith-Schuster caught a pass from Patrick Mahomes, and as he turned to run, he was forcefully hit by safety Andre Cisco. Cisco appeared to be attempting to lead with his shoulder, but the contact resulted in a helmet-to-helmet collision, forcing Smith-Schuster out of the game. Surprisingly, the hit went unpenalized, despite one official initially dropping a yellow flag at the end of the play. Next up, we have Chuck Hughes, who suddenly collapsed at the end of a game in 1971. His teammates finished the game while medics took Hughes away. Despite efforts to revive him, he was declared dead about an hour later due to a heart attack caused by arteriosclerosis heart disease. The NFL didn't stop the game back then. They continued playing to the last minute. In contrast, after Damar Hamlin's incident, the NFL and both teams decided to suspend the game. Many agree that stopping the game was the right decision given the circumstances. Next up, we have the story about Danny Amendola, who dislocated a bone in his shoulder when he tried to catch a pass. The bone almost went inside and could have hurt his breathing tube and a blood vessel near his heart, which could have been deadly. To top off this list, we have the scariest moment a wide receiver has ever faced. Daryl Stingley was in the midst of a play, running a slant as Grogan prepared to send the ball over the middle. Then came Jack the Assassin Tatum, who lowered his shoulder, delivering a forearm and helmet right into Stingley's face mask. Stingley collapsed and was unconscious at the Raiders' 10-yard line. Russ Francis, his roommate and Pro Bowl tight end, rushed to the motionless figure. It was clear to everyone, especially Francis, that something was wrong. The medical teams from both sides hurried onto the field, reaching a swift and unanimous conclusion. And with meticulous care, Stingley was strapped onto it, his head secured in a stabilizing brace. He was gently rolled off the field. Amidst the chaos, there was an ambulance and an overwhelming sense of tension. Remarkably, there was no flag and no penalty assessed. At the time, the hit was entirely legal. Defensive backs had the freedom to initiate such intense contact with a wide receiver regardless of whether he had possession of the ball. The on-field turmoil took some time to settle, and eventually the game resumed. But Daryl Stingley's life, as he had known it, was forever changed.